since we're on the topic of video games, I did want to talk a bit about this. So, there is this game, what was the game fucking called? What is your game? Luminous Nights, that's what the game's called. So there's this game called Luminous Nights. Now, if you look at the game, well, it literally just tells you what it is. But if you just look at the game without reading anything else, it's very obvious what this is if you played the game that not only inspired it, but this game is literally a clone of. This is a Kingdom Hearts clone. Now, I have seen a lot of people getting very angry about this game existing. Oh my god, it's a clone of Kingdom Hearts. Why would I play this game? I'd much rather just go and play Kingdom Hearts. And yeah, you can absolutely go and play Kingdom Hearts. Here's another one. This is about a Mirror's Edge clone. It's actually much funnier to do this about Mirror's Edge. I just came across a Mirror's Edge clone called Panline that looks way too similar to Mirror's Edge, despite its subtle differences. To be honest, I don't advocate for games straight up copying others. Like, getting inspired is one thing, but copying them one-to-one from aesthetics to the core gameplay, I don't feel great about, but at the same time, I also want to point out how terrible EA is at handling the IPs and studio talent. Mirror's Edge has been like a dead IP for... When did the last Mirror's Edge come out? Mirror's Edge. Are there only 2 games? Or was there a third one? Mirror's Edge games. Okay, there was 2 games. When did Mirror's Edge 2 come out? That was 2016. So this is an IP that has been dead for a fucking decade now. I don't really care if somebody wants to go and make a literal clone of Mirror's Edge. Nobody else is doing it. And this kind of goes back to the Power World thing, right? Well, Power World's very different. Power World is, like, people call it, oh, it's Pokemon with guns. It's not really Pokemon with guns. Yes, it is a creature collector. Yes, there are guns, but it's a survival game, right? Like, it's nothing even remotely close to Pokemon outside of the fact that it has monsters and balls, and you battle the monsters. That is where the connections, like, that's where the connections end. This right here, though, Panline literally is just Mirror's Edge. It's Mirror's Edge with a different accent color, and Luminous Nights literally is... The music also sounds very Kingdom Heartsy. This is literally Kingdom Hearts. But I think a lot of people forget that this is the way that a lot of genres start, right? When you think about like FPS games, for example, Wolfenstein came out. Wolfenstein wasn't the first FPS, but Wolfenstein was one of the very early ones. And there was a bunch of games which were basically as Wolfenstein. When Call of Duty was like the really big FPS, there was a lot of games which were basically just Call of Duty. It is really common, especially in the earlier days of, especially back like when FPS was first getting started. The term at the time when Doom came out, it was then Doom Clone, right? Doom Clone was the genre term until FPS became like the new standard term, because it just didn't really make any sense, because games started to diverge so far from what Doom and Wolfenstein actually were. You get a lot of this with the Hollow Knight stuff, where there's a lot of these Hollow Knight clones. They're not just Metroidvania games, right? Metroidvania is an established genre, but there is a subset of Metroidvania games where they have pogoing, they have movement that is very similar to Hollow Knight. Maybe they have aesthetics similar. There's something about, if you've played Hollow Knight, you can spot a game that's trying to be Hollow Knight a mile away. And that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing at all. A lot of early RTS games were very similar. A lot of early city builders were very similar. A lot of early RPGs were very similar. But this is the way that genres start. There's not that many games in the genre, but during the PS2 era, there was a couple of these DMC clones that came out. A notable one being Dante's Inferno. Is that the one? Dante's Inferno game. Yes, Dante's Inferno. 2010 game. If you look at the gameplay, it is literally God of War. It is literally just God of War. There was another one. Yeah, The Nightmare Before Christmas, Oogie's Revenge, which sounds like a No, sorry, that was a DMC clone. Yeah, that was a DMC clone, not a God of War clone. Yeah, okay, sorry, my bad on that one. Was it? Yeah, that was the DMC one. But Dante's Inferno literally is just God of War. And that's not bad. That's not a bad thing at all. Because when you start making more games like another game, that then sort of gives other people sort of, I guess, the leeway? Maybe is a good way to say it. The encouragement to then go and try out something different. It's not like every game that comes out needs to sell exceptionally well. And this game, like, there's clearly a lot of areas where it still needs, like, a lot of polish. The combat's a little bit rough, movement's a little bit rough, the animation is a bit rough, but again, the sounds are very much Kingdom Hearts as well. But I like the fact that someone is doing it. Because even though Kingdom Hearts is such a big franchise, there's never really, at least to the best of my knowledge, never been a game that just tried to do something in that similar kind of vein. Especially the Kingdom Hearts 1 style. Kingdom Hearts 1 is a very different kind of game from 2. 1 was a lot slower of a game, more, like, methodical, smaller encounters, whereas 2, it sort of leaned more into the fast-paced action, and the game got a lot faster. 3, then, was way, way faster, and I have problems with 3 for many reasons, but that's just one of them. But I can't fault someone for trying. I really can't fault someone for trying. Even if the game is not going to be incredible, even if the game is not going to change the world, like, just, hey, just, like, make a thing. At the end of the day, if you're making a thing, like, yeah, I might criticize the thing, sure, whatever, but I can't really say that you shouldn't do it. It doesn't, at the end of the day, there's like, how many games come out a day on Steam? How many games release on Steam per day? 48 to 52. At the end of the day, right, like, if it's not good, there's plenty of other games out there. You don't need to, not every game needs to be good. Sometimes it's okay for a game, and to be fair, most of the games that come out are not good. It's okay just to be that, like, stepping stone, and even if it's just a stepping stone as the same developer, stepping stone along the way to just letting someone else make something really cool. Well, that's just my thought. Maybe I'm wrong. And if I am wrong, feel free to disagree with me.